All right, so if you notice, the only difference between last Wednesday, no, Tuesday, the one we did notes on Tuesday, the titles is that word right there. It's not long, it's synthetic, right? Long division is what we've been doing the last 2 days, okay? Long division will work for every single one of these problems we do today, okay? So if you like long division and you're good at it, you're comfortable with it, you don't have to use synthetic division. You can use long division. But some people might have issues with long division because long division, it's long, right? That's why we call it long division, right? Um, here's another one. Here's another method. I want to give you another method to try. It's called synthetic division. Okay, what's synthetic mean? Fake, yeah. If you have synthetic grass, that means you have fake grass, right? It's not real. It looks the same. It should behave similarly, but it's fake, right? It's the same thing. It behaves this way, behaves the same way as long division. It's just different. Okay. Okay. So remember, we also use division to factor and to solve. That's what we're going to be factoring and solving today too. All right. Okay. So here is a kind of a quick little, might not make sense to you yet, but it will. So if we have two numbers, if I'm dividing two numbers, right? Let's say I'm dividing, I'm just going to pick random two numbers. 32 divided by 4, right? 32 is what we call the dividend. Dividend is the one that goes inside the house for long division. 4 is the divisor. Divisor is the number that goes on the outside of the house on long division. Okay? And then the answer, what's the answer? There we go, 8. The answer, yeah, that's called the quotient, right? That's called the quotient. The answer is called the quotient. Okay? So when I talk about dividend and divisor, that's what it means. Okay, those are the words, those are the names or proper names. Okay, so here we go. This is the layout right here. This is the layout for long division or for synthetic division. Looks a little different, right? We have a little, it's kind of upside down house, and in there goes the 0 of the divisor. Okay, so not the divisor itself, so not x plus 4, x minus 2, whatever it was today. It was yesterday, only the 0. Okay, over here, I don't need, when I list them here, when I list the long dividend, right, I don't need the x cubes, the x squareds, the x's. I just need the coefficients. What's a coefficient? So like if I have 8x squared plus 2x minus 1, what's a coefficient? So yeah, exactly. So in this case, 8, 2 would be coefficients, right? -1 is technically a coefficient. We call it a constant, but those are the numbers in front of the variable. Okay, good. All right, so let's take a look at it. Let's do the first one. Let's get you used to the process. On the test, I'm not going to say use synthetic division, use long division. I'm just going to say divide, right? Up to you which one you use. Okay. Okay, so I have to divide here. It says to divide, and this is my dividend, goes inside the house usually. This is my divisor, which goes on the outside of the house, right? For long division, but I'm not doing long division today. So this is how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to have a little house, and in there goes the 0 of the green guy, the 0 of the green highlighted part. What is the 0 of the green highlighted part? Not 2. Why -2? You're right. Why -2, Hayden?
Well, I guess that you just equal it to 0 and then
Yep.
the sign.
That's it. That's the same. That's the reason why. If I plug in -2 here, it would make this whole thing 0, right? Another way to do it, which we've done in this class before, is set it equal to 0. Set it equal to 0, right? If I set it equal to 0, I subtract 2 from both sides. I get -2, right? -2 is a 0, is my 0. That's why it's a 0. That's the number that's going to go out here. That's the number that's going to go out there, okay? Because it's a 0 of x plus 2. Okay, so that part's definitely different than long division. Okay, the next part, the yellow guy that usually goes inside the house, right? It's got 4 terms. It's got 4 terms here. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I don't want the x squareds and the x cubes and the x's. I just want the coefficients. So what's the coefficient for the first one, x cubed? So I need a 1 here. What's the next coefficient? Another 1, right? So I'm going to put another 1 next to it. What's the next coefficient? So I'm going to put a -10 next to it. And then the last one is -16, right? Okay. I'll put them back in. I'll put the x's and x squareds back in, but not until after I'm done with the synthetic division. Okay. In between the two ones? You can put a plus here and a plus here. It's not wrong. Yeah, for sure. It's a positive one, right? So putting a plus out there is okay. All right, so then I'm going to draw a line underneath. Okay. So the first term, the first number, in this case, the positive 1, always goes straight down. So whatever that number is, it just goes straight down. Okay. Now to get the next number, I got to multiply, just like I did in long division. I'm going to multiply the 0 out here with the number here. So when I multiply those two guys, what do I get? -2, right? So I'm going to put a -2 here. Add straight down. Always add straight down. So when I add a 1 minus a 2, I get a -1, right? Okay. Do the process again. Do the multiplication again. What's -1 times -2? +2, right? So I'm going to put a +2 right there. Add straight down. What do you get when you add straight down? -8. Good. One more time. -2 times -8 this time. What do I get? +16. When you add straight down, what do you get? 0. The last number that you get will always be the remainder. Good. Remainder. So in this case, we don't get a remainder. It's 0. It means it went in evenly, right? All right. So we're done with division. We just have to bring back all the x's and x squareds and all of that. Okay, so watch what I do. Watch what I do. I'm going to bring down the -8. I'm going to bring down the -1. And I'm going to bring down the +1. Okay, so the -8 took the place of the -16. We start from the end, right? So the -16 didn't have an x, right? So that means the -8 won't have an x. Okay, and then we move 1 over, the -1. The -1 took the place of the -10 here. So that means that -1 there has to have an x with it. And then we slide over 1 more. The +1 right here stayed a +1 over here, so it's got to have an x squared with it. And that's your quotient. Okay. That's the quotient, right? So you don't have to have those ones, the 1x, 1 or -1, but that's the quotient. Okay. All right, let's try it one more time. Let's try it again. Just division. So we're just doing division on number 2 as well. Okay, so first thing I got to do is set up my house. Here is the divisor. Here is the dividend. Okay, so what number is going to go inside the house? Positive 1. Good. Positive 1 because that's the 0 of x minus 1. Again, since these are your notes and I'm recording this, I'm going to say, if you don't know, set it equal to 0. When you set it equal to 0, most of the time you can do it in your head, and I don't mind that. But if you're not sure, that's how you know that it's the 0. All right, so let's go back here. So now the thing that used to go on the inside of the house for long division, 3x to the 4th minus 11x cubed, so on and so forth, we're going to do, except we're not going to write the x's and all that stuff. So the first number is going to be 3, and then negative 11, positive 4, negative 2. Look at the yellow guy. What am I missing? I'm missing something there that I had on the last one for the yellow. The last number by itself, right? There's nothing there. But remember, yesterday we talked about placeholders. They're important, right? So what am I going to put in its place? A 0. A 0. Without that, we're not going to get the right answer because we need the placeholder. Okay. So we needed to add a plus 0 at the end there. Because now it's in standard form. Okay, so move the first 3 first. First 3 goes straight down. Stays at 3. Then we multiply the 0 out in front with the number we have. So 3 times 1 is 3. Always add straight down. Always add straight down. Okay. So I have negative 11 plus 3, negative 8. Okay. Multiply again. Negative 8 times 1, negative 8. Add straight down, I get negative 4. Okay. Multiply again. Negative 4 times positive 1, negative 4. Add straight down. Since they're two negatives, I add them. They become a bigger negative. Negative 2 plus a negative 4. And then one more time. I got negative 6 times positive 1, negative 6. And that's going to be negative 6 again. Division part is done. What's my remainder on this one? Negative 6. Yep, negative 6 is my remainder. The last number is always going to be a remainder. If it's 0, that means you get no remainder. Okay. All right. So now I just got to rewrite my answer, bring in all the x's and x squareds and stuff like that. Okay. So the remainder, how did I write my remainder yesterday? As a fraction, right? Negative 6. And what's going to be on the bottom? X minus 1. Yeah, x minus 1, just like yesterday. Plus sign there. Okay, then I have a negative 6 here. I got a negative 4 here. I'm just going to bring those down. Negative 8, positive 3. Okay. So after the remainder is a negative 6. That negative 6 is going to take the place of the 0 over here, which didn't have an x, right? So that means negative 6 will stay negative 6. And then I go one up. Negative 4 takes the place of the negative 2 over here. So that means that guy has to have an x. The next guy is negative 8. That means that one's going to have an x squared. And then the last one is x cubed, or x to the third power. And you are done. That's your quotient. Okay, that's your quotient. So those problems that we just did there, we could have done using long division. We could have done using the same division we did using long division, but it's a different method, right? I did 2 problems in the same space, in the same amount of space that I could have done 1 long division, right? Long division would have taken probably all of that space for 1 problem, but I could do 2. So it's a method, like I said. On the test, I'm not concerned with what method you're using. Just show me which method. I'm using synthetic. I'm using long. That's fine. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at number 3 on the inside. Okay. This question, nowhere in the question does it say divide. Doesn't say division anywhere, right? What is the question asking you to do, though? Find the zeros, right? Find all of the zeros. We're going to use division to do that. We're going to use division to do that. Okay? So I'm going to use, okay, so what number is going to go inside the house? Positive 2. Good. Positive 2. Okay. Okay. So this guy here, the dividend, the guy that usually goes inside the house, that one is in standard form, x cubed, x squared, x to the first, no x. So I can write it. I don't need to add anything, add any zeros there, right? So 1, negative 7, 4, 12. When I do this process, what should I get as a remainder? 0. I better get 0 as an answer, as a remainder. Why? It's telling us to find all the zeros, but why, when I plug in 2 specifically, will I get 0 as a remainder? X minus 2 is a factor. Anything that's a factor means it goes in with no remainder, right? That's why it's a factor. Factors go in with no remainder, right? When we did the first one here, this little problem here, 32 divided by 4. 4 is a factor of 32. Why? Because there's no remainder. It went in evenly, right? Same thing. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to this problem here. So let's do synthetic division. Let's start the process. First guy goes straight down. Multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. Always add straight down. So I get negative 5 here. Then negative 5 times positive 2 is negative 10. Add straight down, I get negative 6. One more time. Negative 6 times positive 2, negative 12. Add straight down, I get 0 as a remainder, like I should have. Okay. Okay, so now I got to bring back my x's and x squareds and all that stuff. So -6 is just going to stay -6. -5 is going to be -5x. And 1 is going to be 1x squared. Am I done? I was done last two problems. Am I done on this problem now? No, I haven't found zeros. Didn't say divide. There was nowhere in there that says divide. I just used division because I had to find the zeros. So how am I going to find the zeros with that guy right there? How am I going to find the zeros of that guy? Not plug in. That's just step one. That's going to be step one. What is that called? Step one is set equal to 0. Isn't this a trinomial? Isn't this a trinomial? It's got 3 terms, right? How do we find zeros, solve using a trinomial, right? What's the next step? GCF, it's written on the board here. Step 2, GCF, the leading term's got to be positive. So is there a GCF between all 3 of these guys? No, skip that step. ABC, let's ABC. Right? A is 1, B is -5, C is -6. So it's got to multiply to be -6 and add to be -5, right? We've done this before many, many, many times. What 2 numbers multiply to be -6 and add up to be -5? Yep. There we go. All right. Bring those back over here. X -6, x plus 1 equals 0. Next step after that said bottoms up. Do I need to do bottoms up on this one? Not on this one. It doesn't hurt if you do it. If you divide by 1, it does not hurt. So don't, some of you on the last test, I saw that you didn't do it, and it stopped you from getting full credit. If you're not sure, do it. It won't hurt the answer. Okay? Okay. Okay. Am I done with the problem? No, not even close. Not even close. Yeah, so I said, am I done with the problem? How many zeros should this have? I've heard 4 different answers. How many different? So which of them are right? I heard 2, I heard 3, I heard 1, and I heard So I should have how many? 3 different answers. Do I have 3 answers? I don't. Right? I don't have those answers. How many answers do I have? I have 1 actually. Yeah, 1. Good. So what I got to do now is I got to set these equal to 0. Okay. Subtract 6 from both sides. Oh, yep. Okay, so -6 equals 0. So I add 6 to both sides, and I get +6. Subtract 1 from both sides, and I get -1. How many answers were I supposed to have? Don't look like I have 3.
Thank you.
So those of you that said you had 3, where'd you guys get the third one from? Remainder's not an answer. Remainder's not an answer. It's the remainder. It's not part of the quotient. Where's the other answer? No, he said zero earlier. No. I have two answers, 6 and -1. But I need a third because there's three. It's supposed to be three answers to this one. Where's the other answer? So I've heard about 5 different answers. Okay. So the ones I heard, no. Okay. So instead of guessing, let's think about it. Read the question. Read the question. Read the question to yourself. And then look at the first steps that you did. Where's the other answer? Now, I'm not an English teacher. I'm not an English teacher. But I think you pronounce that zero. I think that's zero right there, right? Right? I'm pretty sure. I gotta check with Mr. Watchers, but I'm pretty sure, right? I'm pretty sure Watchers or Campbell or Miss Cardwell. I gotta check with one of them, right? I'm pretty sure that says zero right there, right? So let's go back to our problem here. All right. So now let me ask you the same question. Where is the other zero? Yes, Javier. There you go, right there. That's the other zero that I started with, right? I started with it at the beginning. They told me that answer. That's the answer they told me. That's why I put it there, right? How do I know that's a zero though? How do I know that that zero is going to work for my problem? Close. What did I get as a remainder? If you get zero here, that means it's a factor, right? And they told us at the beginning, hey, this is a factor. This is a factor here. So that means this zero has to be a zero. Okay, that's where the third one comes in. Yep. Yep. Okay. But they're not always going to call them zeros. That's why I gave you the list, that long list. It's buried somewhere in your notes, probably has dust on it because you guys haven't seen it in a while. But I'm going to get this question. It doesn't. What zeros? What are zeros? They have many names, right? There you go. There you go. Find the solutions. Sometimes they won't say find all the zeros. Sometimes they'll say find all the solutions. Sometimes they'll say last chapter, they didn't say this chapter, but last chapter they said find all the x-intercepts. Find all the roots, right? And I get questions every time they change the words. What's that? I'm like, dig in your notebooks, and we point to it, and they're like, they finally see it, okay? So make sure you know that because they don't use all the same words every time, okay? I know we're running a little late here, so we gotta step on it a little bit. Okay. So here we go. Number 4. Same question, right? The question part is the same, right? It says find all the zeros. Okay. So the same kind of question, but what's different? Yeah, this part is different than the last part, right? So what does this mean? What is this telling me here? Not multiplying. What usually goes in there? F of X, right? X usually goes in there, right? And they're saying X is not there anymore. Instead, X is 3. So when I plug in 3 for x, I get 0 for y. Isn't that an x-intercept? If I plug in 3 for x, and the answer is 0, if I were to graph that point right there, would that be on the x-axis? So it's an x-intercept, right? So what is the x-intercept? 3. What's another word for x-intercept? A root. What's another word for for a root? That's going to help me today. 0, right? 0. So what number goes in there? What number goes inside the house? There we go. Right? Okay. So is there missing any terms here? Anything missing? Any terms missing here? No. So let me write them down. If you know what you're doing, don't wait for me. If I'm going too slow for you, go faster. Okay? Don't wait for me. I'm going slow just because I'm trying, there's if you're not quite there yet, I don't want to go too fast. But if you're like, I got this, keep going, go. Don't wait for me. Okay? All right, so now I got to do my process. All right? So move the 2 down, multiply 2 times 3, I get 6. Add straight down, I get -7. Multiply again, I get -21. Add straight down, I get 15. Add straight down, I get 0. My remainder is 0. Okay, good. Remainder of 0. All right. So now I got to rewrite my answer, put back the x's and the x squareds. Okay. So that 5 is going to what? Stay a positive 5. That -7x is going to pick, or -7 is going to pick up an x. And that 2 is going to pick up an x squared because it goes in order. Okay. I have 2 zeros now. If I started with 3, I found 1, I need to find the missing 2. So what do I do now? Do the steps, do those steps that are on the board right there, that are in your notes. So if you're watching this later and you don't have your note, and you can't see the board, look at your notes. It's a trinomial. So trinomials, first step is set equal to 0, check. Second step, GCF. Is there a GCF? No. Third step is ABC. A, B, C. Okay. A is 1, or sorry, 2. B is -7. C is 5. Okay, so what numbers? Let's see. Multiply. It's got to multiply to be negative or positive 10. Add up to be -7. All right. -2, -5. Now we're cooking. Okay, so put those numbers back, -5 and -2. Okay, what's my next step? Bottoms up, yep, bottoms up, because I have a 2 for A, so I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. Okay, the first one can't be reduced and can't divide, so that you're going to do bottoms up. The second one can be divided. Makes a -1. Okay. Factoring is done, but if I want to solve, I got to set it equal to 0. Set both parentheses equal to 0. So I got a 2x minus 5 equals 0. I got an x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, there's one answer there. Another answer here, and I know this question I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get this question tomorrow when we're doing our assignment. Mr. Flores, I put in 5 over 2 and 1, and I hit enter, and it says I did it wrong. What did I do wrong? Exactly. So I want you guys to remember this tomorrow. You forgot the third one, right? You forgot the third one, because this is what I'm going to say tomorrow. I'm going to point at the problem. I'm going to point at the problem, and I'm going to say, how many answers should you have had? And you tell me 3, and I'm going to say, where's the other one? Where is it? Good. I hope so. I hope so. And if you don't say that, I'm going to say, go watch the video. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Okay? All right, let's do the. We got 2 more. We got 2 more. They're not as long because we got to do different things, but let's get these 2 done so that we can finish the notes today, because I don't want to have to finish them tomorrow. Okay, so let's get 2 more done and we'll be done. We got 11 minutes. Okay, so this problem here, is it asking me for zeros? Nope. Nope, don't have to find zeros. What is the question asking though? K, right? They have a K. This guy has a K, right? We're not, instead of a number, right? We're used to seeing a number there. And it's saying, I'm not going to tell you what the number is. You got to tell me what the number is. Okay? So the number, it says x plus 1 is there. That's a factor. What does it mean if it's a factor? There you go. No remainder, right? So I'm going to set this up just like I was doing a regular problem. Okay? So what number goes out here? -1. Good. Okay. So now I got to set up the other part. This part that goes the coefficients, right? So the coefficient of x to the third power is 1. And then what comes next? Not k. 0. Yeah, it's missing a term here, right? So I got to rewrite this. It's missing squared, so I got to put 0x squared. And then you put kx, and then you put 9. It's missing that x squared. So you got to put the placeholder. Then k, then 9. Okay? So it's just like one of our old problems, except there's a k in there. We'll deal with it when we get there. We're not there yet, so we'll deal with it when we get there. All right, so I'm going to put my line down. I'm going to start doing it. Move down the 1. So I go 1 times -1 equals -1. Add straight down, always add straight down. I get -1. And then I'm going to go -1 times -1, +1. And then I have k plus 1. That's where I run into an issue, right? K and 1 aren't like terms, right? So I can't add them. So I ran into a roadblock. Well, this is what I'm going to do to get around the roadblock. I'm going to start from the other side. Start from the end. Don't I know what that number should be? I know it should be 0, right? It's got to be 0 because it doesn't say it's a factor. So the remainder better be 0. Okay, so now let's go the opposite direction. So now, if this is 0, what number had to have been here? Good. Now, if that's -9, what number had to have been here to make -9? Good. And if that's 9, what number had to have been here to make 9? 8. because we always add straight down, right? Okay, you go backwards. You go backwards to get that answer. Mm-hmm. It 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 didn't say anything about zeros. It didn't say anything about solving. All it said was tell me what k is. So I'm done. That's how you know you're done. If you can answer the question, you're done. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do now is try number 6. It's the same type of question, just with just a little different, but you can handle it. Okay. So try it. I'll give you a few minutes to set it up. At least set it up, and then we'll finish, and we'll be done. Okay, so my yellow part up here, you can see my yellow part is it's in standard form, x squared, x, and then no x. So I don't have to add zeros in there. I'm good there. So I wrote it down, 15k. What number goes inside the house? Positive 8. Good. Positive 8. Okay, let's play the game. 1 times 8 is 8. Add straight down. Always add straight down. 13. Good. And then 13 times 8. 104. Good. Uh-oh, this is where I run into it, right? So what number, they tell us though. They tell us what number should be inside this guy right here. They tell us what this should be, right? It's not going to be 0 this time. Yeah, they say it's going to be 93. They say in the question right here, they say it's 93. All right, well, if I got 2 out of the 3, I can figure out what the third one's going to be. So what has to be there? Has to be a negative 11 because it has to go down from 104 to 93. Okay. All righty. Yes. So if a negative 11 was there, we would add negative 11 plus 104, and we would get 93. That's how we know it's negative 11, yeah. Yep. All righty. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Just like here. You're talking about from here, and then I write them like that? I write them in parentheses like this, you mean? This part here? Yeah. When I divide, when I do this process here, they should go down a power because you're dividing. So when you divide, you go down in power.